Welcome back to Gamesoverboard. This is our next episode. We're going to take a little bit different spin and do a game that probably a lot of people have not heard of. I know I hadn't. I just received it in a trade on boardgame.com from a person, and we've really enjoyed it the first couple times we've played it. So we're going to share the game with you. It's kind of weird, kind of sadistic, but also kind of fun.
It's fun. It's called Nodwick, the card game. And it says it's a sadistic adventure for 3 to 6 sadistic adventurers. Damn it.
Something like that.
It says it's sadistic.
It says on the box it's for 3 to 6 players. It says the game time is about 10 minutes, and then it says the ages are for 7 to 99. I don't know about the 7-year-olds. Depends on if you like to introduce your 7-year-olds to the theme of body dismemberment and gore and carnage.
If you're over 99, don't even consider it.
Don't even. So, in the box comes...
We've got a deck of cards, one timer, and a comic book.
The comic book's kind of cool. It actually gives you the background of the game itself. You find out what the plot line is and why you're actually doing what you're doing. The overall premise of the game is that you have some henchmen who have been competing in a very gross, macabre Olympic Games, and after the previous event, they had all of their body parts cut off. Now, in between the events going into the last one, you need to frantically put your people back together again using magic in order to be able to complete in the final event, which is presumably even more disgusting and gross.
So it's just like real life.
Just like hockey.
Like our life.
So everybody's going to get a number of cards at the beginning of the game. I believe it's 7.
Sounds good to me.
Look at the rule books if you want to know the rules. That's not what we're here for.
That's not what we do.
And then, basically, the goal of the game is to assemble a complete henchman, one of each body part that's available in the game, as noted on here. There's head, spleen, arms, legs, spirit, and torso. In the game, you're not allowed to make a henchman with multiple heads or multiple legs, just one of each body part. So it's kind of like Jin, where you're trying to get a set of complete items. There are a number of different colored henchmen. You don't have to collect all the same colors. It's not required. You can have one of each color if you want. But you do get some bonus points at the end of the game if you have a majority of your cards in one color or another. On the cards themselves, you're going to notice on the left-hand side a couple symbols. These symbols represent the other type of card in the game. There's really only 2 types of cards. There's the body parts, and then there's what are called epiphany cards. I'm assuming that's the name of the character in the game. I've never heard the word before. Either that or I'm just an idiot, and you'll see on the bottom of the screen the definition from Wikipedia in about 2 seconds. On the left-hand side of the card, you're going to see some symbols, like things like duct tape, rose-colored glasses, happy thoughts, power of the gods, life force, things like that that are used to piece your person back together again using magic. And those are the items you need to play on the table along with the body part in order to use them. So if this one here records a life force and a roll of duct tape, I would put the roll of duct tape and the life force in the discard pile at the same time as playing that body part. Every time you play a body part, you get to draw 2 cards.
Now, if you don't like your hand and you can't really play anything in it, you can discard 2 of any color body part to gain 1 additional card. So I've got a white arms and a white head here. I'm going to discard those and draw 1. Or if you have 2 of the exact same epiphany card, you can also discard those 2 to draw an additional card.
You also get more cards, or different cards rather, by trading amongst the other players in the game. It's an open trading system. Anybody can trade with anybody anytime. You can do it by any means. You're just not allowed to lie about what you're giving people. So you can just tell them, I've got 1 card, like pit style, just go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1,
I got
1. Or you can tell them, hey TJ, I've got a yellow card, would you like a yellow card? Yeah. You don't have to tell them what the body part is, or just say, hey T, I see you need legs, would you like some legs? So you can trade on any way you want. Now, the timer. This is the only component we haven't talked about yet. This is the only thing which is any semblance of a game turn. The game is played in real time where everybody's doing everything at the same time. You don't have to wait for a certain time. Crazy! You can put your cards down anytime, you can trade anytime, you can discard anytime you like. When this timer's running, the game starts when the player turns over the timer, and whenever they're done doing whatever they want for the moment, they can pass the timer to their left. And as they do so, they get to draw another card. Woo-hoo. And this continues going on, and you just keep drawing cards every time you pass the timer. As soon as you receive the timer, you have the option of either letting it run on the side that it's going or turning it over. You only have this option as soon as you get the timer. You can't let it run for a long time and then flip it over. Now, if the timer runs out on a person, they are going to get called on it by the other player, and when that happens, they have to pass the timer on without drawing a card. So if TJ would let this timer go.
Should I?
Yes.
I don't know if I should.
We're trying to
I don't want to. But I can't.
Time.
Dang it.
So I called time on TJ. He has to pass the timer to me. He doesn't get to draw his card now because he was called out on it.
Right.
So be sneaky about how you pass the timer. You can actually pass an empty timer to somebody, but you have to give them at least a couple seconds in order to realize that the timer is empty before you're allowed to call it on.
Time.
The game goes on like this until a pre-designated number of people have completed a full henchman. When a number of people have completed the henchman, it's described in the rulebook as to how many, depending on how many people are playing, then the game is over, but whoever is still left in the game that hasn't completed a henchman will actually get the time left in the timer. They can't flip it over, but whatever time is left in the timer to frantically try to finish their henchman and put it on the table. They can't pass the timer and get more and draw new cards that way, but they still can trade the two identical ones of any one color, so I got 2 gray for 1. They can still do that to the middle, and they can still trade amongst each other, trying to get the last things that they need in order to play their henchmen. After that timer runs out, that's the end of the game. It goes into final scoring. Final scoring goes as follows. You're going to add up the total number of Epiphany symbols on the left-hand side of all of your cards. I mentioned at the beginning that you don't necessarily have to have all the same color. You can have multiple colors down on the board. But you are going to get a bonus. So in this situation, there are 3 orange, 2 green, and 1 white. You're going to get a bonus 3 points because the color that you have the most of there's 3 of them. So you're going to get 3 bonus points in orange for doing it.
Okay.
Also, if you're the first or second person to go out and finish your henchman, you get 2 and 2, 1, or you get bonus points respectively for going out first. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins, and that's pretty much the entire game.
An entire round lasts about 8 minutes, 12 minutes, depending on how fast you play. But you can really get a couple of really good rounds in just a couple of short minutes.
Yeah, especially once you get a group of people who all know how the game is played. The game goes pretty frantic and pretty quick. The timer's getting thrown around the board and falls on its ground half the time. It's a good, fun, frantic game. I mean, you can't take it too seriously. If you get kicked off at the game, you can just realize you're going to get to play another one in about 3 minutes anyway. So I like it overall. I mean, I think it's a fun game. I think it's a great, just get the stress out after a really tense game of like Power Grid where you're adding up money and things. You don't have to really pay attention to anything. It's a good game.
It is. There's not a lot of strategy involved. Maybe some trading strategy and what cards you're keeping, but it's overall a very luck-oriented, non-thinking game.
Yeah. I haven't researched where to buy it yet. Once again, check boardgamegeek.com. They're always a great resource for finding games like this, whether you can get them from another player on there or they'll be able to find a place where you can buy it online. I'm sure you can find it. It's put out by Jolly Roger Games. Go get it. It's a good game.
I give it 3 torsos up.
I give it a happy thought.